So you're getting into crit racing and you're wondering how to get started, how to find local races. We're here to help you with that. And also we're gonna talk a little bit about you actually being involved in your first crit race. You line up, they blow the whistle. You don't wanna be a liability to others. You don't wanna crash yourself. You wanna give yourself the best chance for success. We're gonna talk a little bit about that as well. But the first thing is like, how do you actually find a crit race, Will?
Yeah, it's hard. There's a lot of places to look, but the best ones are probably going to be your local organizations. Walk into your local bike shop, talk to your local clubs. You can go online, Google search it. Bike Reg is a good website. There's also probably a local organization that has a website with a calendar on it. You've got one here in California.
We're super lucky. So NCNCA is our local district within USA Cycling. Now, that's Northern California, Nevada Cycling Association. There's a calendar that shows all the races from all the promoters. That's the best resource here. But again, like Will said, it's gonna depend on where you live. So probably the best resource, honestly, is a local bike shop. Also, let's give them our business and be part of the community. That's probably a good thing. And that's how I first got my start. I went into a local bike shop. They put me in connection with Alto Velo, which is a club. Next thing you know, I know where all the races are, and bam, I'm racing. 15 years later, I'm talking to a camera and talking about bike racing. So that's probably the best resource to find a crit. But now you're like registered for a crit and you're like, what am I doing? How am I doing this? You wanna go outside and we're gonna go over the basics. Like, this isn't a comprehensive crash course on crit racing. I happen to sell a comprehensive crash course on crit racing. I hate to use crash. Uncrash. Which is called the Couch to Crit Masterclass. You can learn more about it down below, but we're gonna go over the high level, most important things when you first line up for your crit race. You ready for it?
Let's go.
You already have your kit on, let's go. All right, so the day's come. You're at your first crit. Will, turkey sub 15 minutes before the race?
Maybe if you want to throw up.
I don't want to throw up. I think 2 hours before your race starts, finish your last like proper meal. It wouldn't kill you to have a little caffeine before your race though.
Maybe a banana an hour before.
Legal dope, caffeine. Banana, a gel. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because before they blow the whistle, you don't want to just show up and roll out of your car. You got to have time to get your number, to register, to get a day of license. This is all assuming you've gotten a USA Cycling license. And of course, warm up. So I generally say about an hour and a half before your race start, show up at the event. That'll give you time to get out of your car, go up to registration, get the number, sign the waiver. You've already had your last meal. You put your bike together, you make sure everything's working, and you go out and do a warm-up. I don't put a lot of stock into warm-up. I know a lot of people have this very strict, I see people like sprinting during their warm-up. I only have so many bullets. I don't like to go spend them in my warm-up. I think if you're on there for 10, 15 minutes, get a little blood pumping, get your muscles warmed up. Oh, if they open the field before your race, generally there's like this 10-minute window at the end of the previous race before your race. If you can go out and do a lap or two on course, especially if you haven't done the course before, you're good to go.
Your first lap of the race generally shouldn't be your first lap of the course. So if you get a chance to look at it, that's only gonna help you.
All right, so you're registered, you got your number pinned, you're warmed up, you're caffeinated, you are ready to destroy. Go line up, I'd say at least 5 minutes before your race starts. They're gonna call the rules, they're gonna talk about preem laps, and they're about to blow the whistle and you're a ball of nerves. How do we perform our best? Well, first of all, you need to fuel properly. And science tells us this is about 80 to 100 grams of carbs per hour, if not more. This can get really expensive. Because I'm a nerd, and also because I like to save money, I have already looked at a bunch of brands and I've broke this down in terms of carbs per dollar spent. Don't worry, I've saved you the time and I've already done the math. I've looked at the top carb mix brands, and those get you about 20 to 30 grams of carbs, respectable. But then I looked at today's video sponsor, Formula 369, and their bulk bag, this bad boy right here, gets you 51 grams of carbs per dollar. That is more than double the competition. But it's even better because I have a coupon code. It's linked in the description. I'll also put it on the screen right here. That will get you an additional 20% off your first order. So that makes it 64 grams of carbs per dollar. That is 3 times as much as the competition. And guys, it is glucose, fructose, and electrolytes. There's nothing magical. There's no gypsy tears that these other brands are putting inside their mix. They just have better marketing. So another beginner tip I have for you, don't waste your money on fueling. Use code NorCal or click the link in the description. Now let's get back to, what was I talking about? Efficiency, I think. And in order to stay efficient, we have to maximize the amount of time that we are spending in the draft. This is gonna save something like 30, maybe even 40% of our energy. But also, what we have to do is take efficient lines through corners. Now, if you hit the apex, as Will is demonstrating right here, not only are you preserving your speed, you are also shortening the distance between you and the finish line. Now, it's usually the case that the fastest line through a corner only allows one rider wide to pass through. This is why you are rewarded with being at or near the front of a bike race. However, you don't actually want to be at the front of a bike race, and that's because of the all-important concept of drafting. You need to stay behind a rider as much as possible in order to benefit from the 30 to 40% savings in drafting. So let's talk about that for a minute. Drafting's not all it's cracked up to be. I'm just kidding. It's the basis for all bike racing strategy. It is the most important thing, more important than cornering. I'd argue it's more important than fitness.
Definitely.
I mean, don't take my word for it. Go out and try to hold 30 miles an hour. See how long that lasts. Spoiler, it's gonna be maybe 2 minutes if you're lucky, if you're very fit. But we're able to do that for 60 minutes, 90 minutes. Shit, nationals in Florida, we did that for 100 miles. It was the fastest road race I've ever done. And that is because of the power of drafting. Like we said before, it's gonna save you something like 30 to even 40% energy in a race. But it's gonna be scary, and for good reason. Like, being really close to somebody on a road bike over pavement is terrifying.
Yeah, it can cause crashes if you get too close, obviously.
You don't want to overlap, so I'd say if you're first starting out, don't overlap. Like, leave a little bit of space. We're gonna put some B-roll on top right here of Will getting very close during a recent KOM attempt where drafting is of critical importance, saving every last bit of energy. But more importantly, you trusted my wheel in front of you, right?
Yeah. Having a wheel that's predictable, that you know someone in front of you is not going to do anything weird, that's nice. You can get closer. But if you don't know what's going to happen in front of you, look farther ahead and give a little space cushion that you can react into.
Especially through a corner. And especially if you're brand new to racing, that's why it's important to get out there, do reps, do practice races, do group rides, and follow trusted wheels and understand the faster you go, the more consequential the draft is. Of course, we could spend an hour right now. We could spend hours right now talking about this topic. And as luck would have it, I have spent hours talking about this topic in the masterclass. The Couch to Crit Masterclass is a course where we go into detail on all this stuff and more. And there are scholarships available because I don't want money to be the reason you can't access the course. So if you want to learn more about that, I'll leave a link down in the description. And if you guys like this sort of content, leave a like, leave a comment. We're gonna read all of them, answer as many as we can. Will, great having you on, buddy. We'll see you guys in the next one.